Good afternoon. Please take your seats. I call the meeting of the General Committee on Political Affairs and Security to order. My colleagues, the agenda for this meeting has been distributed. I hold it in my hand. Our first item of business is to adopt the agenda. Are there any objections to the agenda? Any objections to the agenda? If not, the agenda is adopted. Thank you. Now, it is a pleasure for me as chairman of the Committee on Political Affairs and Security to welcome you to this meeting. It is also my pleasure to introduce and thank the rapporteur, Ms. Margareta Cederfelt from Sweden. The committee is staffed by Deputy Secretary General Mr. Gustavo Pallares, to my right, Program Officer Luik Poulan, second to my left, and the clerk from the United Kingdom House of Commons, Mr. Stephen McGuinness, to my immediate left. Before we begin, may I ask anyone speaking from a prepared text to hand that text to the Secretariat in advance. Helping interpreters in this way will make our meetings more productive and efficient. Now, as to schedule and timing, the committee is scheduled to have 4 meetings during this session. First, we will have the report and draft resolution prepared by our rapporteur, Ms. Cederfelt, on the theme of this year's annual session, Recalling the Spirit of Helsinki. 69 amendments have been tabled to the draft resolution. In addition, this committee has been tasked by the Standing Committee to debate and consider 4 supplementary items covering the following issues. First, draft resolution on adherence to the Helsinki Principles in interstate relations across the OSCE area, sponsored by Mr. Guliev from Azerbaijan. Secondly, draft resolution on OSCE Code of Conduct on politico-military aspects of security, awareness raising, dissemination, better implementation, and outreach, proposed by Ms. Glanzmann of Switzerland. Thirdly, draft resolution on the cooperative phase in post-conflict borders, new instruments and actors for a broader view of the conflict cycle, proposed by Mr. Sanchez Amor from Spain. And fourthly, draft resolution on a comprehensive legislative reform on foreign terrorist fighters, FTFs, from the OSCE area, proposed by Ms. De Petro from Italy. 26 amendments have been proposed to these supplementary items. I think the supplementary items complement the work of the rapporteur and will be considered after we have finished our work on the report and draft resolution. It is now my distinct pleasure to give the floor to the rapporteur of this committee, Ms. Cederfelt, who has worked very hard in a brief period of time to present a good draft report and resolution on a basis for our work. Ms. Cederfelt, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I will start with my report now. For 40 years, the Helsinki Final Act has been instrumental in the progress we have made together toward building a Europe that is undivided, peaceful, and democratic. However, the principles established by the Helsinki Accords are now under serious threat. The crisis in and around Ukraine, protracted conflicts, emerging threats including extremism and terrorism, and backsliding on human rights have dramatically changed the political and security context in Europe. What we are also witnessing today is a growing institutional fragmentation within the OSCE area, together with increasing mutual mistrust and divisions among participating states. Too many participating states rely on unilateral actions, but the relevance of the OSCE can only be ensured if all the participating states work together, respecting its guideline principles and relevant international law. Therefore, through recalling the spirit of Helsinki, a genuine and firm political commitment from all participating states to key goals of the organization is now required. illegal annexation of Crimea by the Russian Federation in March 2014 and the destabilizing activities carried out by separatists in Ukraine, backed by the Russian Federation and other armed groups, represented a serious breach of the Helsinki Principles. Although the rapidly deteriorating situation in Ukraine has at times provided challenging for the organization to maintain its relevance, the signing of the Minsk Second Agreement on 11 February 2015 represents an OSCE success story. However, while there have been hopeful moments of progress at times, the situation remains fragile and instances of violence and ceasefire violations still occur. Therefore, the political settlement of the Ukraine crisis based on respect for the country's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the rights of national minorities is now the most important task for the OSCE. Also, it's in the interest of all of us to avoid the emergence of other protracted conflict in Europe. The role of the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine is very important in this regard. We all have to make sure that it receives all the funding it needs and is as well staffed and well equipped as possible to perform its important duties. At the same time, it's also necessary that Ukraine crisis does not divert precious time, attention, resources, and energy from other fundamental priorities, including the resolution of long-running frozen and protracted conflicts in Moldova, at the South Caucasus, the relaunch of conventional arms control and transnational treaties. The almost total standstill on relaunching conventional arms control and modernization of the Vienna document is clearly affecting the work of the organization. The important role of the Treaty on Conventional Armed Forces in Europe has also to be emphasized. In this regard, we regret the Russian Federation decision to withdraw from the treaty, suspending its international obligation and hindering the constructive dialogue on arms control that has been taking place within the international community. We want to seize the opportunity to urge them to reconsider this decision and return to active participation in the treaty. At the same time, we welcome the entry into force of the Arms Trade Treaty, which represents a new chapter in collective efforts to bring responsibility, accountability, and transparency to the global arms trade. Millions of people suffer from the direct and indirect consequences of the irresponsible arms trade. And this treaty, when properly implemented, will help reduce the human costs associated with the uncontrolled trade in conventional weapons and ammunition. The role that ongoing conflicts in and around Europe are playing as drivers from international migration puts the OSCE at the center of the migration governance debate. The flow of migrants across the Mediterranean represents a humanitarian emergency, and European Union member states are urged to ensure that and the burden of migrants on the continent are shared equally among member states. At the same time, the flow of migrants also represents a security crisis, as smuggling networks are often linked to terrorist activities. The terrorist threat continues to rapidly evolve and present new challenges in the OSCE area and beyond. The recent attacks, the ongoing expansion of terrorist organizations, and growing tactical trends such as hostage taking and the recruitment of foreign fighters are a constant reminder that extremist violence remains a serious cause of concern. We cannot consider ourselves isolated from these trends around the world. The rising phenomenon of foreign terrorist fighters requires that the OSCE and the participating states address the root causes of extremism and intolerance, especially within Europe, and develop a multidimensional approach, also addressing the challenge of early prevention. Along with the threat of terrorism, cybersecurity has emerged as an increasing concern. Cyberspace has been often used by terrorists to identify, recruit and train new members, collect funds and organize acts of terrorism. There is therefore a need for effective countermeasures in this field, while at the same time ensuring privacy rights and freedom of expression. As the democratic backbone of the OSCE and its most versatile and adapted institution, the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly remains a crucial player in improving the organization's ability to swiftly respond to new crises, promoting the values and achieving the goals of the organization in 3 dimensions. While preparing for the 40th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act, we should be paying attention to how to strengthen the role of Assembly within the overall OSCE structure and make the interaction between the Assembly and the other structures and institutions of the OSCE more systematic. In these critical times, we need a strong sense of cooperation and common political will from all participating states to enhance stability and security in Europe. In this regard, dialogue within the Parliamentary Assembly and the network we are doing here at the annual session is crucially important and requires the commitment and the support of all parliamentarians involved. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And thank you, Madam Rapporteur, for your report and for your excellent work. Now is the time for general debate on the draft resolution. The register for speakers has been open since the beginning of yesterday's session. 16 speakers are on the list, and at this point, shall we agree that the list is closed? The list is closed. And can we also agree that members will, in light of the 16 speakers who've asked to be recognized, that the time be limited to 2 minutes per speaker? Is that agreed? It is agreed. The floor is now open for debate. I recognize first Mr. Percy Down of Canada, to be followed by Mr. Alain Neri of France. Mr. Down.
Thank you, Chair. The report before us today highlights the evolving nature of transnational threats in the OSCE area, including terrorism financing. I want to speak briefly today about the efforts Canada is making to fight this serious problem. The issue of terrorism financing has been examined by both Canada's Senate and its House of Commons. In Canada, the framework for the country's anti-money laundering and anti-terrorism financing agenda is contained in the Proceeds of Crime, Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Act. Of some note is a provision that requires a review of this act every 5 years. My colleagues on the Senate Standing Committee on Banking, Trade and Commerce completed their review of this act just over 2 years ago. In March 2013, the Senate Banking Committee tabled its report entitled, "Follow the Money, Is Canada Making Progress in Combating Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing?" And the answer was, not really. While the committee acknowledged in its report that the elements of Canada's regime that are working well must be retained, elements that are not having the desired results must be changed, and lessons that can be learned from the regime in other countries must be embraced. Colleagues, the report contained 18 recommendations that would lead to a more effective anti-money laundering and anti-terrorism financing regime in Canada once implemented. Canada's federal parliamentarians are engaged in examining both the scope of the problem of terrorist financing and possible domestic and international solutions to it. We look forward to working with other countries on solutions to this serious problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a delegate from Germany who was waving a card and who I missed when asked if, yes. Without objection, the delegate will be added and there will now be 17 names on the list. Are we agreed to that? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I now recognize Mr. Alain Neri of France to be followed by Mr. Andreas Kafkalias of Cyprus and Mr. Viktor Guminsky of Belarus. Thank you.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président. Je crois qu'aujourd'hui, nous connaissons un développement du terrorisme qui est plus qu'inquiétant, car il est de plus en plus difficile, et l'on voit le terrorisme, bien entendu, en Syrie, avec l'État islamique et Daesh, qui sont en train de poser des problèmes au niveau mondial, et on voit la déclinaison au niveau de chaque pays, et en particulier en France, nous sommes ciblés par les terroristes puisque nous sommes parmi les premiers à nous opposer aux actions de Daesh en Syrie et en Irak. Le gouvernement français vient de prendre une première mesure qui concerne le contrôle des changes. On ne pourra plus retirer dans les banques françaises plus de 1 000 € en liquide, de façon à limiter les possibilités de blanchiment d'argent. Mais je crois que ce qui nous interpelle surtout, c'est qu'il y a le financement de Daesh en particulier est assuré à travers la vente frauduleuse de pétrole. Et l'on sait en particulier qu'à la frontière entre la Turquie et la Syrie, il y a des convois entiers de camions-citernes de pétrole qui sont expédiés en direction de pays tiers et qui participent au financement de Daesh. Donc je crois qu'il serait important que l'ensemble des pays réfléchissent à la lutte contre cette fraude et en particulier, nous appelons nos amis turcs à être particulièrement vigilants sur cette contrebande de pétrole qui est le financement numéro 1 en ressources pour Daesh et c'est totalement inacceptable.
Thank you, my colleague. Our next speaker is Mr. Andreas Kafkalias of Cyprus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The commemoration of the 40th anniversary of the signing of the Helsinki Final Act primarily constitutes a moment of deep reflection for the OSCE. Conflicts persist across and beyond the OSCE region. Escalating tension and divide hinder confidence and security building efforts lead to an armament race and exacerbate instability and global threats. Mistrust prevails not only between East and West of Vienna, but also between Western allies. We wish to express our full support and solidarity with the people of Greece. The Greek crisis cast a severe blow at the heart of Europe. Unprecedented neoliberalism and austerity threaten democracy at its roots and people's sovereignty. The message of the Greek people has been clear and must be translated into solidarity and unity for the sake of human dignity and a more democratic EU. Upholding inclusiveness, dialogue, and mutual respect of divergent security concerns across the OSCE area is essential. Yet, reaching consensus seems unrealistic as long as tailored interpretations and violations of the international law are tolerated in the logic of might is right. Cyprus constitutes an eloquent example of the blatant violation of the state's sovereignty and territorial integrity by another state being tolerated for too long. The Greek Cypriot side reaffirms its strong commitment to the negotiation process with the aim of reaching a just, viable and lasting settlement in accordance with international law and permanent UN resolutions. We are following with concern developments in Turkey, which holds the key to the settlement of the Cyprus problem. Turkey must translate to deeds its dogma of zero problems with its neighbors, as well as its commitment to democracy and solidarity in the fight against jihadists to the benefit of its own people, Cyprus, the region, and the world security. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Our next three speakers will be Mr. Viktor Gaminsky of Belarus, Ms. Natalia Ahafanova of Ukraine, and Ms. Bahar Muradova of Azerbaijan. Mr. Gaminsky.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Уважаемый господин председатель, уважаемые коллеги, текущие кризисы в ряде регионов Европы и рядом с ней стали серьезным вызовом для всей системы общеевропейской безопасности, послужили катализатором роста напряженности в Европе. На этом фоне еще более обострились годами накапливающиеся противоречия в рамках ОБСЕ. Существенно осложнились условия для ведения диалога, направленного на достижение той цели, которая была определена в Хельсинкском заключительном акте 40 лет назад. В то же время активные усилия ОБСЕ, направленные на поиск урегулирования этих кризисов, подтверждают, что, несмотря на все проблемы в ее деятельности, ОБСЕ остается важнейшей переговорной площадкой и обладает солидным набором инструментов, необходимых для предотвращения урегулирования конфликтов. Важно, чтобы ОБСЕ работала сбалансированно в тематическом и географическом плане, в равной степени уделяя внимание всем трем измерениям безопасности и проблемам, как к востоку, так и к западу от Вены. Считаем, что Парламентская ассамблея ОБСЕ должна продолжать играть свою важную роль в сохранении позитивной динамики процесса Хельсинки плюс 40. Нельзя позволить, чтобы наша дискуссия в рамках нынешней сессии, которая имеет принципиальное значение для будущего ОБСЕ, увязла в обострившихся противоречиях. Недопущение появления новых разделительных линий в регионе, сохранение единства государств-участников, предотвращение и урегулирование конфликтов должны оставаться главными задачами нашей организации и на перспективу. События в Украине наглядно продемонстрировали, какими угрозами чреват спор о выборе пути развития. В этой связи полагаем принципиально важным задействование площадки ОБСЕ для реализации на практике идеи интеграции, предполагающей налаживание диалога и взаимодействия между различными интеграционными объединениями на пространстве нашей организации. Благодарю за внимание.
And thank you, sir. And our next speaker is Ms. Natalia Ahafanova of Ukraine.
Dear colleagues, I would highly appreciate the reporter for the relevant, insightful, and comprehensive draft resolution reflecting our response to the current challenges of European security. The solution to the crisis in the European security must follow in from its origins. Restored respect and adherence to the establishing principles of OSCE are key to overcoming the crisis. Acts that contravene these principles must be reversed. Developments in and around Ukraine have demonstrated the dangerous consequences for foundations of security when the fundamental principles of OSCE are violated. This includes the basic principles of the Helsinki Final Act, such as sovereign equity and states' right to define and conduct its relation with other states, the non-use or threat of force, and the inviolability of frontiers and territorial integrity. It also includes the recognition of the inherent right of each and every participating state to be free to choose and change its security arrangements. The future of Ukraine is for Ukrainian people to decide. Reconsolidating European security cannot be separated from the concrete actions in relation to resolving the crisis in and around Ukraine. Any solution must be based on full respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, unity, and independence of Ukraine. The crisis also demonstrates the clear need to implement fully and in good faith the political military commitments by the OSCE participating states, as well as revitalize, update, and modernize the conventional arms control and confidence and security building regimes in Europe, including 2011 Vienna document. A few days from now, we will mark the 40th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act. This university should remind us the need to redouble our efforts of ensuring respect for OSCE fundamental principles as the bedrock of European security and our common responses to new challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the chair now recognizes Ms. Muradova of Azerbaijan.
Уважаемая госпожа Сидерфельд, я высоко ценю вашу работу над докладом и проектом резолюции и выражаю вам свою признательность. Сегодняшнее обсуждение совпадает с трудной ситуацией, когда сообщество ОБСЕ столкнулось с серьезным кризисом доверия и видения, изложенные создателями документа заключительного акта. Еще мечта Хельсинки все еще остается мечтой, нежели стали реальностью. В этом контексте весьма актуально проведение всесторонних обсуждений по выявлению первопричин сложившейся ситуации. Хочу отметить, что этот кризис начался не вчера. Скорее всего, та нежелательная ситуация, с которой мы сталкиваемся в настоящее время, является прямым следствием нарушения хельсинских принципов в межгосударственных отношениях за последние 25 лет. Таким образом, полная приверженность государств-участников принципам, закрепленным в основных документах, начиная с заключительного акта, является предпосылкой для достижения нашей общей концепции сообщества безопасности. Я твердо убеждена, что главной целью любой попытки, направленной на укрепление роли ОБСЕ в европейской архитектуре безопасности, включая процесс Хельсинки плюс 40, будет устранение последствий нарушений наших принципов и восстановление доверия посредством неприменения силы или угрозы силой в наших межгосударственных отношениях. Разрешение затянувшихся конфликтов имеет особую значимость в этом отношении. Без устойчивого решения этих конфликтов наше видение сообщества безопасности, выдвинутое в процессе Хельсинки плюс 40, вряд ли может стать реальностью. Одно из основных намеченных качеств Одно из основных несменных качеств, привлекающих нас к сотрудничеству с организацией, является то, что ею определены такие основные принципы международного права, как суверенитет государств, нерушимость их границ и территориальной целостности, что дает ей возможность выполнять роль основного регулятора межгосударственных отношений. Нужно подчеркнуть, что этот момент был отражен в 4 пункте проекта резолюции, поэтому я призываю всех голосовать за эту резолюцию. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for adhering to the time. May I ask, is Katya Coyle here? Ms. Coyle, you were already on the list, and I'm happy to tell you that I'm going to recognize Mr. Gagamayan of Armenia, and that you will be recognized following him, and you'll not fall to the foot of the list as we initially thought. So, Mr. Gagamayan of Armenia.
Уважаемый господин председатель, уважаемые коллеги, прежде чем начать свое выступление, я хочу зачитать высказывание лидеров. Противопоставление России и Европы является ошибкой. Европейская идея не противоречит российской. Об этом заявил премьер-министр Италии Маттео Ренци в ходе посещения университета имени Гумбольдта. Ошибкой является считать Европу антироссией. Невозможно представить себе, что европейская идея построена на антироссийской модели. Это исторически неверно. Высказывание президента Румынии. Важно найти пути для ведения диалога. Цитирует заявление президента Румынии Клауса Йоханниса агентства Bloomberg. Дальше. Мы можем выразить несогласие с тем, как Путин действует на Украине, однако мы не должны создавать условия для новой холодной войны, так как мы так нуждаемся в России для борьбы с исламским государством и урегулирования драмы. В этом нет смысла. Я не перестаю удивляться, почему надо было ждать год, чтобы начать переговоры с Путиным. Дальше. Мы должны быть... Это Саркози говорил, Никола Саркози. Мы должны быть умнее в том, как мы ведем себя по отношению к Владимиру Путину. С ним нелегко. Но я не думаю, что у нас есть альтернатива постоянному взаимодействию с Россией. Это высказывание Хиллари Клинтон, которую процитировала BBC 4 июля текущего года. Я специально привел выдержки из соответствующих заявлений известных мировых лидеров, потому что они прекрасно понимают, что значит в отсутствии делегации России сейчас принимать антироссийские резолюции. Мы отходим от главной опасности, исходящей от исламского государства, которое уже сегодня грозится уничтожением как Палестины, так и Израиля, которая сегодня уничтожает исторические памятники древности, в том числе древний город Пальмиру, христианские храмы раннего Средневековья Армении, которые находятся на территории Сирии. И в этих условиях на юбилейной сессии Парламентской ассамблеи ОБСЕ вместо того, чтобы сосредоточиться на выработке единой непоколебимой позиции, которая сведет на нет варварство, чинимое исламским государством, мы опять-таки под разными видами, под разными формулировками отчуждаем от нас Россию. Давайте прислушаемся к голосу разума, к словам Хиллари Клинтон, Николя Саркози, румынского президента, премьер-министра Италии Матео Ренци, и все вопросы, связанные с Россией, отложим для обсуждения на сессии Парламентской ассамблеи ОБСЕ в Улан-Баторе. Спасибо.
Thank you, my colleague. And now, Ms. Katya Koil of Germany, followed by Ms. Hanna Hopko of Ukraine.
Ja, liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen, ich möchte zunächst der Berichterstatterin für ihren Bericht und die hervorragende Resolution danken, vor allen Dingen den Schwerpunkt, der hier auch auf die konventionellen Abrüstungsregime gesetzt wird, auf den UN-Waffenhandelsvertrag und vor allem natürlich auf die Einhaltung des Völkerrechts, das wir von allen unseren Mitgliedstaaten gleichermaßen fordern müssen. Hier ist heute schon zum Völkerrecht einiges gesagt worden. Manche haben gesagt, auf der Krim sei es eine legale Abstimmung gewesen, gegen die man nichts einwenden können. Allerdings müssen wir doch noch sagen, dass eine freie Abstimmung etwas anderes ist als das, was wir dort erlebt haben. Nichtsdestotrotz möchte ich an der Stelle, an der hier auch wieder das Konsensprinzip der OSZE in Frage gestellt wird, doch widersprechen. Denn dieses Konsensprinzip ist nicht einfach nur ein Hindernis oder ein Störfaktor, sondern es ist ein Grundprinzip der OSZE. Natürlich lassen sich Beschlüsse leichter mit Mehrheit treffen als im Konsens, aber diese sind deswegen noch lange nicht wirksamer. Im Gegenteil. Wirkungsvolles Handeln ist nur möglich im Zusammenwirken der Konfliktparteien und nicht gegeneinander. Einseitige Verurteilungen, womöglich noch in Abwesenheit der Konfliktpartei, werden keinen Waffenstillstand fördern oder Menschenleben retten. Und das ist doch das, was uns allen sicher am wichtigsten ist. Und die Erkenntnis, dass Sicherheit nur miteinander und nicht gegeneinander vereinbart werden kann, gehört doch zu den Geburtshelfern des Geistes von Helsinki, den wir hier die ganze Zeit auch versuchen zu beschwören. Es ist nicht einfach nur irgendeine Form der Entscheidung, sondern es ist das Kennzeichen eines Systems kollektiver Sicherheit in Abgrenzung zu anderen Systemen, wie beispielsweise einem Verteidigungsbündnis. Und deswegen sollten wir uns daran erinnern, dass wir daran festhalten und sagen, das Konsensprinzip führt dazu, dass es vielleicht länger dauert, aber dass es am Ende wirksam ist. Und deswegen hoffe ich, dass wir hier genauso wie heute Vormittag auch dazu kommen, diese Infragestellung des Konsensprinzips wieder zu streichen. Vielen Dank.
Thank you, and your remarks are to be followed by Mr. Ihor Popov of Ukraine, and then followed by Mr. Nestor. I'm sorry, Ms. Hanna Hopko of Ukraine, and then Mr. Popov. Ms. Hopko.
Dear delegates, it's a big honor to be here today, and Ukraine support the resolution that now we are discussing. And we would like to say that when we're discussing the resolution in Ukraine, unfortunately, Russian separatists continue to kill our people. Yesterday, two soldiers were died. And it's why it's important for us to have the peace in Ukraine, to save lives, because more than 7,000 people have been killed over the last year. Among these people, 70 children died. This is why Ukraine is fully dedicated to the peaceful settlement in the situation in Ukraine. Ukraine remains fully devoted to peace and peaceful resolution. We believe that the Minsk Agreement signed in September 2014 and on 12 February 2015 remain an agreed roadmap for peaceful solution in Donbass, which must be implemented. And of course, we would like to have the dialogue with Russia Federation, but first, they have to fulfill the obligations they signed during the Minsk Plus and to stop fighting in the eastern Ukraine, to withdraw the heavy weapons, and this will be a real sign that Russia is on its peaceful solution settlement. The future of the European security will depend upon our ability to seek for ways of restoring respect to and correcting violation of the OSCE core principles and commitments, to halt aggression against an OSCE participating states, and to introduce means of enforcement against aggressor. Mr. Chairperson, from now we will mark the 40th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act, and this is really very important to unite efforts and to have consolidated position to stop the Russian aggression and to prevent from future conflicts like Baltic states and other, because we forget the Transnistria, we forget Georgia 2008, now Ukraine, and without uniting our efforts, the future will be very unpredictable, because Putin is very unpredictable and will not stop unless he is stopped. Besides sanctions, the unity and consolidation could help save life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. Popov, followed by Mr. Shufraj.
Dear colleagues, 40 years after passing Helsinki Final Act, we see that all the commitments are still relevant. OSCE and its institutions is playing a key role in peace process in Ukraine now. I would like to thank all members of parliaments of participating states for so great attention to the situation in my country. Parliamentary Assembly adopted Baku Declaration last year, and we will adopt very important for Ukraine documents these days. I'm sure ODIHR will assess Ukrainian elections based on high international standards, and I welcome that ODIHR will send observers only to those elections recognized by legitimate government. Special monitoring mission to Ukraine is working hard, and I call the Assembly to support the mission, and it's mentioned in draft resolution. Europe and all the world meet great challenges now, and OSCE, including Parliament Assembly, will have a crucial role next 40 years. I call to support resolution recalling the spirit of Helsinki and follow its principles in our activities.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. Nestor Shufraj, followed by Mr. Baltabiev of Kyrgyzstan.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Хочу высказать слова благодарности госпоже Седерфельд за обстоятельный доклад и описание тех реальных вызовов, которые сегодня стоят перед нашими странами и в вопросе распространения терроризма, и в вопросе религиозного экстремизма, и, конечно же, в вопросе усовершенствования механизма контроля над вооружениями. Но я украинец, и не могу не обратить внимание на значимое внимание, которое определила госпожа докладчик к вопросу урегулирования и конфликта на Украине и подписанию Минских соглашений. Минские соглашения подписали 5 сторон. Особая благодарность госпоже Хайди Тель-Явине, а также тем, кто обеспечил этот процесс. Безусловно, без присутствия украинской и российской стороны эти соглашения были бы невозможны, как, наверное, были бы невозможны без присутствия представителей Донбасса. 5 сторон договорилось. Более-менее начали выполнять эти соглашения в вопросах ограничения огня и отвода вооружения. Но мы все прекрасно понимаем, и я в Вене говорил не единожды, уподобляясь Катону-старшему, что только изменения Конституцию дадут гарантии урегулирования этого конфликта. Что мы имеем сегодня, спустя почти 5 месяцев? Изменений нет. Перспектива очень сегодня туманна. Почему? Потому что украинская власть боится мира больше, чем конфликта, на котором она зарабатывает политические дивиденды и, как сегодня уже стало известно, финансовые спекуляции. Сегодня у нас бизнес падает, инвесторы убегают из страны, падение ВВП значимо. И при этом только за счет траншев, за которые платят налогоплательщики Европы, Соединенных Штатов и Канады, у нас удерживается национальная экономика. Только мир может гарантировать стабильность национальной экономики, установление и сохранение социальных стандартов. У нас сегодня зарплата и пенсия на уровне ряда африканских стран, при всем уважении к этим странам. Это недопустимо в центре Европы. Я благодарен всем, кто сегодня способствует реализации Минских соглашений. Но это невозможно без соответствующего желания украинской власти. Спасибо за понимание и надеюсь на вашу дальнейшую поддержку.
Thank you very much. And our next speaker is Mr. Baltabayev of Kyrgyzstan, followed by Ms. Rosa Akhnazarova of Kyrgyzstan.
Уважаемые участники сегодняшнего заседания, как и все, Кыргызстан очень озабочен конфликтом вокруг Украины. И мы высоко оцениваем вклад, влияние лидеров Франции и Германии посадить конфликтующие стороны за одним столом и решить вопрос мирно. И это большой вклад должно продолжаться и закончиться позитивным решением окончательно для установления мира в Украине. Если сегодня не участвует российская сторона, к сожалению, это очень негативно. У нашего народа есть пословица: голову можно отрезать, но язык никогда не позволительно. Поэтому, как бы ни было сложно, мы должны, парламентарии, всегда трудные вопросы обсуждать с участием конфликтующих сторон. К сожалению, сегодня российская сторона отсутствует. Поэтому, может быть, некоторые односторонние резолюции относительно России принимать следующей сессии парламентской ассамблеи, так как принятое решение без участия самой России, в конце концов, может оказаться неэффективной и не признаваться с одной стороны конфликта. Поэтому я думаю, что парламент – это не воюющая страна, это площадка для дискуссии, для того, чтобы приблизить позиции сторон, конфликтующих сторон. Поэтому я еще раз призываю уважаемых депутатов, парламентов стран ОБСЕ, чтобы мы приняли балансированное решение. Спасибо.
Thank you, sir. Is Ms. Rosa Akhnazarova in the room. I'm told that she is not here. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two further speakers on general debate, Ms. Alia Palonayemi and Ms. Tadai of Italy. So I now recognize my colleague from Finland.
Thank you, Chair. European and global security are being shaken by violent extremism that unfortunately seems to be growing. Never before have so many people from so many countries in Europe left for a conflict like the one in Syria. How can we respond to this threat and what can we do about returning fighters? Finland has intensified its activities in countering violent extremism both on national and international level. One national level, the key element in countering terrorism is preventive work. Finland's aim is to safeguard cooperation between national authorities, which is a prerequisite for prevention of violent extremism and to promote cooperation with civil society. For over a year, we have been training local level actors like schools and social workers to identify cases where people may be planning to travel to conflict areas. Now we have multi-professional prevention teams working with the police throughout Finland. Child protection services, for example, are important in this. These early intervention teams target young people, especially those under 18, with the aim of breaking the cycle of their criminal behavior. Furthermore, one should tackle the root causes and motivations of terrorism and violent extremism. They are often non-religious. People may only lack hope and want a new beginning. This is why reducing poverty and promoting social cohesion are of vital importance. Finland will actively participate in international cooperation. One best practice relates to internet because many people upholding ISIS propaganda are located in Western countries and many people may be influenced by it even without traveling to Syria or Iraq. In Finland, virtual community policing started in 2008. This refers to competent law enforcement authorities being openly present and active on internet, especially on social media.
Thank you very much. And our final intervention on this general debate is our colleague, Ms. Tadai of Italy.
Sì, grazie Presidente. Io desidero innanzitutto ringraziare la relatrice Sederfeld per l'esaustività della sua relazione, per aver così ben individuato le sfide che ci attendono, dai migranti alla lotta al terrorismo, ai temi del disarmo. Desidero però iniziare il mio intervento leggendo dalla premessa dell'atto di Helsinki. L'obiettivo di questa organizzazione è di operare nell'interesse dei popoli per migliorare e intensificare le loro relazioni, contribuire in Europa alla pace, alla giustizia, alla cooperazione, nonché al ravvicinamento tra loro e con gli altri Stati del mondo. Sono passati 40 anni da allora, ma queste parole sono ancora tragicamente necessarie. Risuonano nelle nostre orecchie come un monito perenne, perché viviamo situazioni di estrema tensione, le abbiamo ricordate molte, con incendi che possono divampare da un momento all'altro. Penso al Nagorno-Karabakh, alla Transnistria, all'Ossezia. Penso a quell'enorme polveriera che è l'Ucraina, di cui dibattiamo da tanto. 40 anni fa si comprese che la distensione non costituiva una minaccia per la sicurezza, ma un'opportunità. E io credo che proprio quell'intenzione abbia prodotto dei frutti. Ma lavorare per la pace è una cosa impegnativa. Ci si scontra ogni giorno con odi sedimentati, con i fondamentalismi, con i gruppi di potere consolidati. Ed è un lavoro ancora più difficile, lo hanno ricordato alcuni di coloro che mi hanno preceduto, se pensiamo che l'odio corre veloce grazie alle nuove tecnologie, specie quelle legate ad internet, lo ricordava anche la relatrice, che hanno anche il difetto di banalizzare la comunicazione, facendo strada a concetti semplicissimi ad effetto e spesso pieni di odio. In molti in questa assemblea, però, possono insegnare che dove ci sono materiali esplosivi ci sono anche pompieri per prevenire esplosioni, intervenire in caso di emergenza. È il caso della nostra organizzazione e della sua assemblea parlamentare, 323 membri in rappresentanza di 57 paesi che dialogano anche in presenza di forti tensioni, come nel caso dei rapporti tra Russia e Ucraina. E a proposito, su questo punto il nostro impegno maggiore dovrebbe essere quello di trasformare lo spirito di Helsinki nel metodo di Helsinki, tradurre l'aspirazione ideale in realtà tangibile. Siamo qui oggi a ribadire il nostro impegno affinché la visione fondativa della nostra organizzazione pervada il pianeta. Vogliamo un mondo conquistato dalla pace, dai diritti umani, dal progresso economico e civile. Vogliamo un mondo dove nessuno abbia fame e dove nessuno venga perseguitato. Portiamo avanti il sogno di un'umanità nuova e vogliamo lavorare per questo. L'Assemblea parlamentare dell'OSCE è stata un canale di dialogo sempre aperto, ma proprio questa sessione, nella quale si celebrano i 40 anni dall'atto finale di Helsinki, si registra un'assenza che pesa come un macigno sul nostro lavoro e sullo spirito di Helsinki. L'assenza della delegazione russa è qualcosa di inaccettabile, che svilisce il senso di ciò che noi tutti ci proponiamo di fare. Il diniego del visto ad alcuni membri della delegazione russa ci dà la dimensione della gravità della situazione. E la nostra organizzazione, nata per avvicinare mondi distanti, per raggiungere la pace e la sicurezza attraverso il dialogo, oggi sembra azzoppata. Noi discutiamo della crisi ucraina, delle violazioni del diritto internazionale, ma lo facciamo senza la Russia, sulla quale in molti condividiamo un giudizio negativo rispetto all'annessione della Crimea, al mercato rispetto degli accordi di Minsk. Ma non possiamo tener fuori la Russia da questo forum di dialogo. Dobbiamo fare di tutto per recuperare la sua presenza e il contributo della delegazione russa ai nostri futuri lavori. Serve alla nostra organizzazione, ma serve soprattutto alla comunità internazionale che non può permettersi l'uso di tener fuori la Russia dai tavoli di risoluzione dei tanti conflitti che oggi infiammano il Mediterraneo. Ieri ho ascoltato con grande attenzione il senatore Neri durante la riunione del Comitato Permanente e proprio con il Mediterraneo voglio concludere, l'hanno ribadito molti colleghi. Credo che ci sia bisogno, lo ricordiamo ogni volta, ma credo che poi sia necessario essere conseguenziali anche alle nostre affermazioni, di avere nella dimensione mediterranea un rafforzamento di quella appunto dimensione. Penso che la cooperazione con i paesi del Mediterraneo vada rafforzata in tutte le sue dimensioni, umana, politica, economica, perché sono necessari comunque strategie condivise di sviluppo economico, di lotta al terrorismo e nella gestione di flussi migratori che sta diventando un problema assolutamente enorme. Grazie mille.
Thank you, and thank you to all of our speakers. We will now move to consider the amendments submitted to the draft resolution. There are 57 valid amendments tabled. Signatories to amendments need to both register and attend the committee session to be valid, and copies of the amendments have been made available. For members of the committee and our secretaries, the correct version is entitled AS 15 DRS1 Amend. So that is the correct version of the amendments. In discussing amendments, I will call the proposer of the amendment or amendments first, and then we'll call for any opponent of the amendment. I will then ask the sponsor of the draft resolution, if he has not already spoken, for his opinion, and following that, I shall put the amendment to the vote. Now, last year at Baku, we had a considerable amount of confusion with regard to oral amendments. So let me make this statement, and I hope that the leadership of the Parliamentary Assembly has now cleared this up. If an oral amendment is proposed, we will proceed in accordance with paragraph 10 of Rule 22 of our Rules of Procedure, which specifies that unanimous consent must be given for such consideration. So if there is an oral amendment proposed, I will first ask whether there is objection to the oral amendment being considered. If there is any objection, the oral amendment cannot be considered and it falls. If there is no objection, we will proceed to consider the amendment in the same way as other amendments. That is, we will hear from the proposer of the oral amendment, one speaker against, and one for the oral amendment, the proposer, and one speaker against, and then I will call for the opinion of the rapporteur. We will then decide by simple majority, as we always do, whether to adopt the oral amendment. Are we agreed to this procedure? We are agreed to this procedure. Now, in the absence of the proposer of Amendment 1, would any of the other signatories like to propose Amendment 1? That being Mr. Guminsky of Belarus, Mr. Senko of Belarus, Ms. Leonenko of Belarus, Mr. Gegerman of Armenia, Ms. Bakalova of Kazakhstan, or Mr. Ahmet Bekov of Kazakhstan. There being no such proposer, then that amendment will not be considered. Mr. Clerk, what is the next amendment? Oh, okay. Mr. Kafkalias of Cyprus is now recognized to propose amendment number 2. My colleague from Cyprus.
Thank you, Mr. President. In connection with another amendment that we propose in the operative part of this resolution, we deem essential that due emphasis be placed on the Mediterranean region as a conglomeration of significant security challenges and opportunities. On the occasion of the 40th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act, which is also that of the OSCE Mediterranean dimension, this organization must see to its greater outreach to this region by upgrading its Mediterranean dimension as per the declaration of the Basel Ministerial Council so that it better reflects the geopolitical, economic, environmental, and cultural significance of these regions and the central place it must have in efforts towards global security. Last but not least, the Helsinki Plus 40 presents the OSCE Parliament Assembly with the opportunity to best use parliamentary diplomacy in order to increase its political role and visibility in this region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone wish to speak against amendment number 2? Anyone to speak against amendment number 2? What is Ms. Sederfeldt's opinion of the amendment as rapporteur?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with amendments, but I would suggest that the place for the amendment will be changed, and I would like to suggest that the drafting committee find a suitable place for the amendment. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
All right. Is there objection to the committee deferring this for a few moments so that a representative of Mr. Kafkalias and the rapporteur's representative could get together and find perhaps a better place for the amendment? Is there objection to that procedure? Shall we do that? We will do that. Now, I'm told that when I called for someone of the signatories to propose amendment number 1, perhaps I missed Mr. Guminsky of Belarus, and Mr. Guminsky would, at this point, like to be recognized to propose such amendment. Is that correct, sir? Okay, then at this point, I would recognize Mr. Guminsky to speak on behalf of amendment number 1.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Действительно, получилось маленькое недоразумение. Наверное, я поздно поднял просто свою карточку, поэтому спасибо за предоставленную возможность. Мы в этой поправкой просто хотим не просто подтвердить актуальность основополагающих принципов ОБСЕ с точки зрения международного права, а разработать стратегическое видение места и роли ОБСЕ в 21 веке, адаптировать ОБСЕ к новым реалиям, укрепить ее инструментарий для адекватного реагирования на современные вызовы безопасности, с которыми мы сталкиваемся, о чем мы уже 2 дня говорим. Спасибо.
Thank you very much. Would anyone wish to speak against amendment number 1? Anyone? Yes, Ukraine.
Ukraine is against this amendment because at the beginning of the resolution, it's important to confirm that OSCE is dedicated to these founding principles. This is why it's very important to keep these phrases about founding principles at the beginning of the resolution. Thank you.
And what is the opinion of our rapporteur on amendment number 1?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I am against amendment number 1, referring to that the amendment proposes removing of the international law, and in my opinion, the clue of this amendment is actually the international law. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Rapporteur. I shall now put the amendment to a vote. We will vote with these voting cards. Are you ready to vote? Are members ready to vote? All in favor of amendment number 1, please raise your voting card. And all opposed, raise your voting cards. Is it clear? It is clear, and the it is clear. Are there abstentions? Are there abstentions? The amendment is defeated, and I assume Madam Rapporteur, that we are still working to find an appropriate placement for Amendment 2.
The placement will be done by the drafting committee, so you can put it to a vote, and the drafting committee will deal with that.
All right, let's do this. It's been proposed by Mr. Payaris, and I think it's an excellent suggestion, that we vote on Amendment 2, and that the drafting committee will find an appropriate placement. Now, Ms. Setterfeld, do I understand that you support the adoption of amendment number 2? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chair. I support the amendment number 2, and the other point is to get the drafting committee should decide where to put the amendment.
All right. Are you ready to vote on amendment number 2? All in favor of amendment 2, raise your voting cards. And members opposed, raise your voting cards at this time. And there appear to be no abstentions. Are there abstentions? Thank you. And the amendment is agreed to without objection. The drafting committee will place the amendment in the appropriate place. Now, shall we agree in respect of our interpreters to end this session at, say, 5:20? Is that agreeable? Are interpreters all right with that? They're exhausted, they're sweating, they're giving thumbs up. So without objection, we'll proceed for another 11 minutes. Next is amendment number 3 by Ms. Abramakiene of Lithuania. Amendment number 3.
Thank you, member. Thank you, dear Chairman. It's very simple amendment. If our dear rapporteur agrees, I simply suggest delete the words existing frozen conflicts and stay on protracted, because protracted conflicts is used more often than frozen, and maybe it reflects the reality more correctly. So I would simply ask Margaret to agree.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and follow the required procedure. Is there anyone who would like to speak against the amendment? Anyone at all who would like to be recognized? If not, Madam Rapporteur, what do you say to this amendment?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Agreed. Thanks.
The amendment is accepted. Are you ready to vote? Those in favor raise voting cards. I seem to have lost mine. And the result is clear. Those opposed? Would anyone like to? Yes. Okay, those opposed? Are there abstentions? And the amendment is agreed to. Are we ready then to proceed on to amendment number 4 by Mr. Japardidze of Georgia? Mr. Japardidze.
Thank you. I'm here. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me now commend Madam Rapporteur for your very important, timely report, which is excellent. And again, we need as many as possible, this kind, just observations and pieces of advice. I have one change to the paragraph 4 to insert, after sovereignty of the countries involved within their internationally recognized borders.
Thank you very much. Does someone wish to speak in opposition to amendment number 4? Would anyone like to be recognized? I see no cards. Madam Rapporteur, what do you say to amendment number 4?
I say agree, Mr. Chair.
The amendment is accepted by the Rapporteur. Are you ready to vote? Those in favor of amendment number 4, please raise your voting cards. I think the result is clear. Those opposed? Anyone opposed? And are there abstentions who would like to be noted? And the amendment is agreed to. We now move along to amendment number 5, proposed by Mr. Gegamayan of Armenia. Mr. Gegamayan, you are recognized to speak on your amendment.
Уважаемые коллеги, вот уже 21 год сопредседатели Минской группы ОБСЕ занимаются проблемой Нагорного Карабаха. В течение последних 6 лет было 6 заявлений в адрес Азербайджана и Армении со стороны президентов Франции, Соединенных Штатов Америки и России. Во всех 6 заявлениях президентов четко указывалось на 3 основополагающих принципа, на основе которых будет урегулирован Нагорно-Карабахский конфликт. 2 из этих принципов нашли место в проекте резолюции, а 3-й принцип – равноправие и самоопределение народов, то есть 8-й принцип Хельсинкского заключительного акта не нашел места. Этим самым мы подрываем работу, 21-летнюю работу сопредседателя Минской группы и даем неверный сигнал, значит, в данном случае нашему соседу Азербайджану. Повторяю, 6 заявлений президентов Америки, Франции и России указывают на 3 основополагающих принципа. 1 принцип выпал. Мы просто предлагаем, чтобы этот принцип также нашел бы место в данной, в целом, очень хорошей резолюции. Спасибо.
Thank you, sir. And who will now speak against amendment number 5? Does anyone wish to be recognized? Yes, our colleague from Ukraine.
This paragraph number 4, which Armenian colleagues is trying to amend is not related to the Nagorno-Karabakh situation. So we would like to retain this paragraph as it is. Why? Because self-determination of peoples and equal rights has to be within the sovereignty and independence of the states and the borders internationally recognized. So we are against this amendment and propose to retain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And what is Ms. Sederfeld's opinion of the amendment?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I am against the amendments, and that's because I think it's important to keep the perspective that it's the countries who actually consist of its people, but it's the country who have the sovereignty. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Rapporteur. Are you ready to vote then on amendment number 5? Are members of the committee ready? All in favor of amendment number 5, raise your voting card. And thank you. And those opposed, raise your voting card. And the result is clear, is it not? Would anyone like to abstain? Are there abstentions? And the amendment is not adopted. We should now proceed to amendment number 6, and I again call on our esteemed colleague, Mr. Kafkalayas of Cyprus, to propose amendment number 6. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The OSCE, as the most inclusive and comprehensive regional security organization in the Euro-Atlantic and Eurasian area, constitutes a unique forum for promoting open dialogue, preventing and settling conflicts, building mutual understanding and fostering cooperation, as the Astana Commemorative Declaration provides. With this amendment, we wish to reiterate that current significant divergences on several issues must not overshadow the high duty of the OSCE PA to continue to foster dialogue, as it is the only means for reaching viable, peaceful solutions to current challenges.
Thank you very much. And would anyone like to be recognized in opposition to the amendment? Anyone at all like to be recognized? Madam Rapporteur, what do you say to this amendment?
Agreed.
The rapporteur recommends adoption of the amendment. Are you ready to vote? All in favor, raise your voting cards. And those opposed, raise your voting cards. Those whose arms are tired, raise your voting cards. Does anyone wish to abstain? And the amendment is agreed to. And I think pursuant to our earlier agreement, we are ready to quit for the afternoon. Thank you. We will continue consideration of amendments to the draft resolution supplementary items at our next meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Is there further business? If not, we stand adjourned.
Thank you very much, sir. Very well done.